My total experience in IT is 12 years, and I worked on the multiple technologies, like I worked on the DevOps and the cloud engineer in my previous project, and I may say that I have also been working on the various kinds of DevOps. So travel services like send modules like load balancer and others and groups and applied on the cloud services, and also work on the treatment for the fault tolerance and they're asking group. And and also apart from that, we'll also find various kind of software security groups in the public and private internet, and also work on the internet in the virtual private cloud in our house. Are also responsible working on the AWS cloud as well as the actual private cloud, in also trying to welcome the identity and access management. This is about my AWS experience, and worked on the previous project, and before that I also worked on the DevOps tools like essential like Docker and Kubernetes, these type of and continuous integration and continuous delivery platform worked on. And prior to that, I worked as a middleware administrator for a couple of projects I worked on, and before that I worked as Java developer for a couple of projects. It's about my professional experience in IT, and currently I'm based out in New Jersey. That's about a short introduction about myself and my professional experience.
Okay, great. So you're physically located in New Jersey?
Right.
Okay. All right, so pull up some information here.
Did you want me to start, Arthur?
You may.
Okay. And I'm not doing something in a very difficult, probing way, but it's more so, I assume that you read through the job description for this position, correct?
Yes.
I'd like for you to just call out anything that's in that job description that you think you have proficiency in or experience in, and then maybe call out the areas you think you may not have as much experience with, just to kind of get the ball rolling. So go ahead and reflect on that, or take a look at it and reflect on it, and tell us something about yourself related to that. And you can even get into experiences that you've had related to your skill set and your strengths.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So basically, I would like to say that areas where I have good proficiency in the job description would be like in the cloud environment, including Amazon, and also others like clouds from another, and also working on the supporting of the other applications on the cloud like Node.js and microservice application on the development experience. I did not working on the configuration of the Spring integration with Jenkins and in Maven, and also work on the DNS integration with the architecture, and also work on Splunk integration, also work on some of the services which can actually depend on the and also I was responsible for welcoming on the operational team, and also understanding the DevOps practices and on-call rotation I worked on, and keep tracking of the known and defect, and also sending the knowledge transfer, the training of multiple support resources, and also implementation with the residents in the main office of organizing and conducting various the framework and those things actually. Yeah. So, and also worked on sometimes with the network team as well, in case of any issues or anything, something like a firewall and switches and load balancing and virtual IP addressing, and strong understanding of the program abstract and good understanding of the RESTful web services API. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Arthur, if you have something to follow up on. I think you're on mute, Arthur.
I was on mute. So I do see some experience in your troubleshooting skills. What kind of problems do you have to deal with where you have to do the troubleshooting yourself?
Basically, when do the troubleshooting occurs, I like to have to go through multiple things inside that, like how could we do checking of the length of the application services, and also understand how can we check the device logs of the services in that, and understand how could we do the release management. On top of that, we could do the deployment and target machine and define it on the target integration and with the did ensure that all of these are handling in proper way, and we can also have the services in the release management side and try to make sure that all of these are right kind of being handling on the service level integration environment, and we can also make sure that it's totally taken care by the application and the management. And I will also check some of the winter of the microservices on top of that. So we actually can go and try present microservices so that we can I can easily get some of the services are defined on top of that. These services will integrate the environment and also have the requirements which are actually handled there, and then it goes released on the third party and make sure we can draw back on the previous version of the code if at all the code have any problem. And the deployment, that's why then have target deployment services and integrate them, make sure that all of these actually handling microservices and my group and the application could not have front end, which would be taken from there, and hand services should be taken care of.
Okay. So in your environment, do you have a lot of integration points?
Yes, we have a lot of integration with third-party APIs, and I'd like to say that one actually having all of the third-party APIs for the application code and define it on the service orchestration.
Okay. So the reason I ask that is because KP.org is, to me, it's a huge integration engine.
Okay.
Can you tell me like your most complicated application in terms of integration points?
So basically, coming to that complicated action in terms of integration, RESTful Web Services API, touching some of the JSON targets on top of that. So basically, we have been trying to get the JSON validation by using the Java Web Services token, which could that we are trying for the validate to this on the target machine, integrate that on the run level, then try to handle the services which will be defined. So we'll be having all of these validations be taken care on of an option orchestration, actually handled in proper way. So Yeah.
Okay. Do your applications depend on other applications in AWS?
Yeah. So yeah. So basically, I'd like to say that these applications don't depend on other. So basically, some of them are total independent monolithic application. Yeah. And
Okay.
some of yeah.
So one of the things that, you know, we're typically not looking for developers, although sometimes development could come in very handy. But I see you have shell scripting experience.
Yes, I worked on shell scripts as part of my deployment automation, and also implemented deployment scripts as well for the when I worked on the middleware application, and also worked on some kind of regular activities like log archiving and this kind of any kind of jobs. I worked on them. I implemented shell scripts for that.
Okay, so that means you can read them, right?
Yes.
And
yes. I implemented many shell scripts from scratch so far.
Okay. How about Jenkins? What kind of scripts do you use in Jenkins?
Yeah, basically Jenkins. I created many jobs in Jenkins. I used shell scripts, and I used the Groovy pipeline for the pipeline jobs to do the builds. And using that Groovy pipeline with the action, using the multiple Jenkins integration services inside, and apart from that, also trying to have some of the Jenkins deployments on top of the jobs. So I use this shell scripting and Maven and this Groovy scripting to do the builds, continuous integration, and continuous delivery.
Okay. So a Maven question for you: What's the main file for all the application dependencies in Maven?
Maven is a form.xml file for the object model.
Right. Okay. I don't want to get too much in depth on that, but that's one of my standard questions.
Yeah, no problem.
So is your Docker and Kubernetes in Amazon, or are they in some other infrastructure?
Yeah, initially it was on the on-premise environment. It was later started migrating to the cloud environments. So these are both in on-premise and it's a cloud both actually.
Okay. And you do have some application development experience. Is that that's J2EE, right?
Yes, I mean initially when my career is beginning, I worked as a Java J2E developer, and later on I switched to this middleware service administration. So yeah, I worked for some time Java J2E developer.
Okay. And I see you've been using Bitbucket and Git and Subway SVM.
Yes. Yeah,
we do also.
Yeah. Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I worked on a SVM administrator at also when I was in IBM, working for a Bell Canada client. I performed the SVM administration activities using SVM and the ClearCase. And Bitbucket I used in AT&T projects. So in Atlassian tools stack using AT&T. So I worked on those.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your monitoring. What kind of tools do you use for monitoring, and what kind of role do you play in monitoring?
Yeah, so basically to monitor the applications, multiple tools in the integration environments. In the applications we use that like App Dynamics tool I used, and Sitescope alerts for the alerts I used on, and Splunk also we used, for logs monitoring, and I used Kibana also in Citigroup. I worked on these tools, and also in AWS, so CloudWatch, something more to the logs.
Okay. We use Dynatrace.
Okay.
So I've never seen App Dynamics, but I think they're pretty strong competitors.
Yeah, I use that one, App Dynamics. And then most of the time I work in Citigroup, App Dynamics tool, and even when I have some ideas, I worked on those.
How about let's switch over to some of the cultural topics. Do you work with squads in your current role, or development teams, some teams?
Yeah, we have Scrum meetings in the morning, and we have multiple teams with they are available to say the team meeting morning, and their timings. Yeah.
And you help them with their pipelines?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Our role is a little bit different, but I think the essential thing is being a good team member, a good embedded team member, and having good working relationships with the squads.
Okay.
We actually do not do Jenkins pipeline work. A lot of things that I'm asking you questions about are more for your familiarity with the kind of activities that go on in development, because as a team member, you have to kind of understand the development environment. And so I'm asking a lot of these questions based on that. So we don't actually develop. We don't actually do the pipeline development. But we are looking for skills in that area because sometimes we have a need to understand it, and it's hard for me to try to figure out Jenkins. I don't know anything about Jenkins, but we do use Jenkins pipelines. We do use Groovy scripts. So being able to analyze the pipeline would be very beneficial to us.
Okay.
We have in contrast to what you're doing now, we have a focus on application availability and resilience topics. So, in our case, we have microservice health checks that are primarily based on Spring Boot, and there's standard libraries that cloud teams are encouraging development teams to use.
Okay.
So just because from an availability perspective, we're dependent on their ability to fail over automatically on their own to an alternate data center based on their application's determination whether it can provide business functionality. So that's a big change that came from the microservices architecture, that the microservices have to identify whether they can actually provide business availability.
Okay.
So a lot of what we do is based on making sure that stuff works because we have a vested interest in availability and reducing mean time to recover or mean time to restore.
Okay.
So we organize testing, resilience testing, which is kind of like a game day, except much lower profile, only in non-fraud environments. And one of the things that interests me was your current skills in documentation. Tell me a little bit about how you feel about documentation in a team environment.
Yeah, I used to maintain a documentation because that is much needed, especially in infrastructure, in teams. Even since beginning, in the environments, like even when I worked on the server environments, like app servers administration, I used to maintain the build books for the test and the production environments, and as well as I used to prepare the run books for the production operations for the operations team, and it will go through the KT part as well. Interaction with the client, and also used to get the sign up the documentation as well, and also this is from the IBM perspective. We used to maintain this documentation. Even when I was in AT&T, I used to maintain the documentation in wiki pages itself, and also for production teams. I prepared the run books for the operational teams, and I have experience. I had experience on maintaining the documentation as well. So I prepared many build books and so far, I maintain the documentation.
Okay. We've already talked about 24/7. We don't have an official role in managing known errors and defects, but we do have like an appreciation for them and understanding the patterns of known errors.
Okay.
So, give me an example of where something happens on a regular basis. It may be noise, and you have to explain it to people. Give me an example of how you dealt with that.
Oh yeah. So basically, we have to, various kind of knowledge transfer to the team members. We have to talk to them and understand their requirements in terms of the business, and also apart from that, also work and have to various kinds of services in the deployment as well. And also try to handle these to understand how we could have various release management in this case. So experience, you asked about 24/7 means, yes, I worked on sometimes when I was in offshore, and here in the release deployments, I used to support when it's required, because most of my experience I worked on a telecom domain, so I supported over the weekends when required. Especially for the deployments, or if there is any issues, I supported for those. And the release management and these activities I supported when I was required. Yeah, I have experience on the different process and type process. Yeah.
Okay. So I think I've covered the bulk of my topics. Jim, do you have other questions to add on?
Yeah, I just have one question. It's a broad question, but it's related to knowledge transfer. I think you mentioned that you did quite a bit of KT work, and so my question's about, and I'm making it a little bit broader, in the sense that, like, with our group today, we do share documentation online, and while it's not technically knowledge transfer, that's important to what our group does. And then in some cases, we do more of a formal knowledge transfer. So I'd like to hear your experiences on what works effectively for that, and what are your challenges that you try to overcome on that as well. So that's knowledge sharing and knowledge transfer.
Okay. So knowledge transfer sometimes for challenges like sometimes many people may not get the points. And apart from that, inside that, I observed some of the issues in terms of how we can specifically transfer the knowledge from one to other, and how could we also get the knowledge transfer documents to the proper way without any problems? I would like to say, and I should have these services actually handling and getting the data which can be defined there on third-party environment. So in case of anything is, I will require, I used to go through that and again, and I used to take care of in the proper, deliver in the proper channel. And if required, I used to have a calls with the team members and, frequently interact with the team and, just to do that security part. And if in case of anything, in any new services or anything, any new updations or to the existing scripts or anything, I used to share this knowledge to the team so that, from an operations perspective, they should not have any issues with that. And I'll make sure that, everybody in the team will be aware of the, activities, the new changes happen in terms of work. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I don't have any more questions right now. Arthur, if you had any? Do you have any left? Or?
No, I think I'm good, Jim.
Okay. Well, do you have any questions for us, Chandra?
Yeah. May know what is the team size and in here? Is there only it's in the California area working or any other location team is working?
Well, it's only California, and specifically we have a Pleasanton technical campus.
Okay.
Where there's two other people that work in that building with me, and then you have individuals like Arthur and another person that live in California but visit the office quite often. Of course, with the COVID situation, that isn't going to happen anytime real soon, but we hope that's going to happen ongoing once the COVID issue is not resolved, but it's mitigated, and we can do more travel and more in-person engagement. What was the other question? The first question you asked? Sorry.
I may know how big that. What is the team size?
Oh, the group. Okay, so again, we have a very small group. As Arthur mentioned, he's the team lead of the reliability engineering reliability practice group, which is two people now. One is offshore, one is here onshore, and we're hiring another person to backfill a person. So that's and then I have two other employees that work for me. Arthur works for me, and then there's another contractor that also, that contractor works more in the operational readiness space, but he works closely with the team that you're on, and he's also in the office. So there will be two people in the office. One in particular works on your team.
Okay.
Now, and then the other thing is, so that's just our team. Now we have a broader digital application services group. We have an operations group that's kind of scattered across the country that do more of the incident management stuff. And then we have an ops dev group that is located, a part of the onshore presence is located in the same office, and they work with the squads to do specific kind of defects, mainly security, non-functional requirements, some operational things, and sometimes actually new features. So we're focused on technical debt reduction. The application's so big, and it has hundreds, if not thousands, of defects that need to be addressed over a period of a year. So they're involved with that. And just to kind of give you a sense, again, we're talking about 30 squads. We are talking about, what, 300 to 500 developers, but it's structured with a Scrum Master and a technical product owner and a application product owner. So they're not all specifically the same size, but the structure are very similar for all of them. And so we are engaged with them directly, about half of the squads, and most of them are the more critical ones. And then their intent is to expand a little bit more into that. It's a very large company. There's a lot of different services that come out of IT. That it's not easy to grasp everything, but once you understand what your role is, you try to connect the dots of the areas that that get supported around you. Like we have a cloud group. And so we've got a couple of cloud groups. We have one Blue Mix cloud group specifically that we work with a lot. So hopefully that answered the question.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Did you want to add to that, Arthur?
Yeah. So the main reason we are insistent about being physically located and working in the office in Pleasanton is because that's where the center of KP.org squads are. That's the hub.
Right.
And so it helps to be on site and be able to go to your squad periodically, for stand-ups, or just be able to walk down and talk to somebody or walk to another building. So it's really important from our standpoint that we only consider candidates that can be physically located and come to the office in Pleasanton.
So yeah, definitely I'll come to office. No issue to be there in on-site. I think once the situation improves, I'll definitely be there. I mean, California is not new to me. I was there for a few times, had a good visit actually. So yes, I'll be there. I have no issue to move there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for interviewing. And have a good day.
Yeah, thank you very much, and you do have a good one. Yeah.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Arthur.
Thank you, Sibu.
Yeah. Talk to you later, guys.